Jenna had always known her pet parrot, Mango, was a little eccentric, a beautiful bird with vibrant green feathers and a mischievous streak. Mango was the center of attention in Jenna's apartment. He could mimic Jenna's voice, dance to the music, and was even known to steal snacks when she wasn't looking. But there was one thing that had started happening recently that left Jenna perplexed. For days, Mango had been acting strangely. He would sit on his perch, staring up at the ceiling, his bright eyes fixed on a particular spot. Jenna noticed it at first during breakfast when she would sit down at the table and Mango, instead of engaging with her like he usually did, would just stare at the ceiling. First, she thought it was a fluke. Maybe he was distracted by a shadow or a small insect. But when it happened again the next morning, and the morning after that, Jenna started to feel uneasy. "What's up there, Mango?" she would ask, but the parrot didn't respond. He just kept staring, unblinking, at the same spot on the ceiling. Jenna didn't think much of it at first. Perhaps he was just being his usual quirky self. But after a week of this odd behavior, she decided to check the camera feed she'd set up to watch Mango while she was at work. She'd grown fond of watching him through the camera, especially when he did his funny little antics or tried to talk in her voice. Jenna pulled up the video from the previous day, expecting to see nothing more than her parrot acting like a goofball. What she saw, however, made her heart skip a beat. The video began with Mango doing what he did every morning, sitting on his perch, staring at the ceiling. But then, something unexpected happened. As the video played, Mango's head tilted slightly, and he started to make soft, almost inaudible noises. It was a series of clicks and whistles, the kind he made when he was trying to communicate. But this time, it wasn't directed at anyone or anything in particular. His eyes were still locked on the ceiling, his body still as a statue. Suddenly, a strange movement appeared on the screen. A faint shadow, almost imperceptible at first, passed across the ceiling. It was so subtle that Jenna had to pause and rewind the video a few times to make sure she wasn't imagining things. The shadow was fleeting, moving across the room in a way that didn't match any of the normal household movements. There were no open windows, no breeze, and no obvious source for it. Jenna's heart raced. She had to admit to herself that she felt a tinge of fear. The parrot's strange behavior, the clicking sounds, and the shadow on the ceiling were all too strange to ignore. Was Mango reacting to something in the apartment? Was there something or someone else up there? In a mix of curiosity and unease, Jenna decided to investigate. Armed with her phone, she stood in the middle of the living room and looked up at the ceiling, just as Mango had done for days. Her gaze scanned every corner of the room, but there was nothing out of the ordinary. No odd shadows, no signs of anything unusual. Still, the feeling of being watched lingered. Jenna grabbed a flashlight and slowly began inspecting the area around the ceiling, shining the light into every corner. She reached above the door frame and discovered a small, barely noticeable crack in the drywall. At first, she thought it was just wear and tear, but then something inside the crack caught the beam of her flashlight. Tiny claw marks, as if something had been scratching from the other side. A chill ran down her spine. Could there be something hidden in the walls of her apartment? Jenna didn't know for sure, but the pieces were starting to fit together. Mango wasn't just staring at the ceiling out of boredom or curiosity. He had been trying to warn her. The next day, Jenna called in a professional to inspect the walls. What they found shocked her even further. Inside the wall, there was a nest of small creatures, likely mice, who had been creating the strange movements and sounds that Mango had been reacting to. It turned out that Mango, with his sharp senses, had been hearing and sensing things in the walls that Jenna couldn't detect. As bizarre as it was, Mango had been trying to protect his territory. Jenna couldn't help but laugh at how her little parrot had known something was off before she did. He wasn't just her pet, he was her little guardian, and she couldn't be more grateful. From that day forward, every time Mango stared up at the ceiling, Jenna felt a newfound respect for his instincts. And when he clicked and whistled, she paid even closer attention, knowing that sometimes, even the smallest creatures had the biggest things to say. Thanks for watching the video. Subscribe for more interesting videos, like and share this video. Have a nice day.